Two ascendants floated peacefully in dark space, their energies intertwined as they pondered the elegant flow of cosmic energy across the universe. "The harmony of the cosmos is truly something to behold," one mused. "The balance of—" Suddenly, a blinding flash interrupted the serenity. A Terran ship burst into existence, zipping straight through them with an obnoxious hum, scattering their forms like mist in the wind. "What in the—" The ship vanished as quickly as it had appeared, leaving the two ascendants flickering in shock. Did something just fly through us?" The other, trying to recompose their energy, pulsed with disbelief. "I think it did, and I think it was Terran?" Another flash signaled the arrival of a second ship, barreling through before either of them could react. "Oh, come on!" And just like that, the Ascendants found themselves, for the first time in eons, completely at a loss, panicking as the humans turned their cosmic sanctuary into a galactic speedway. The Ascendants and the Terran Nuisance. In the boundless expanse of dark space, a realm where the light of stars dared not intrude, the Ascendants resided in a state of eternal tranquility. This place, untouched by the passage of time, was a sanctuary of perfect stillness, a domain where the universe's most ancient and powerful beings had gathered since the dawn of creation. Here, in the void that lay beyond the reach of all other life, the Ascendants maintained their vigil over the cosmos. The Ascendants, entities of unimaginable power and wisdom, had watched over the universe for eons. They were the silent architects of reality, guiding the development of stars, planets, and life with a gentle hand, ensuring that the balance of existence remained unbroken. In this serene, undisturbed space, they meditated on the mysteries of the cosmos, their thoughts intertwined with the very fabric of the universe itself. Each Ascendant existed as a being of pure energy, their forms ever shifting and fluid, reflecting the infinite complexity of the cosmos they governed. They did not perceive time as mortals did. To them, a millennium was but a fleeting moment, a single note in the symphony of existence. Their presence here was a testament to their unmatched mastery over the forces of creation, a position they had held since the universe's birth. In this calm existence, the Ascendants knew no disturbance, no chaos. Their control over the cosmos was absolute, their wisdom unmatched. They were the guardians of cosmic order, the unseen hands that ensured the universe unfolded according to the grand design they had overseen since time immemorial. In dark space, they found peace, confident in their role as the ultimate arbiters of reality. And so, the Ascendants continued their eternal vigil, their thoughts drifting through the infinite possibilities of the cosmos, confident that nothing could disturb the harmony they had so carefully maintained for countless aeons. They were, after all, the Ascendants, beings of pure power and perfect wisdom, secure in the knowledge that they were the masters of all that was and ever would be. But the universe, as vast and ancient as it was, had a way of introducing the unexpected, even in the most serene of places. And in dark space, where the Ascendants had long enjoyed their unbroken peace, something new was about to happen, something that would challenge even their immense power and patience. The serene stillness of dark space was abruptly shattered one day by a sudden, blinding flash of light. It was not the usual cosmic phenomenon, not a distant star igniting or a nebula collapsing. It was something entirely unexpected. A small, oddly constructed vessel tore through the fabric of dark space at a speed that defied all known laws of physics, leaving a ripple of distortion in its wake. The Ascendants, beings who had existed in perfect harmony with the cosmos for eons, were completely caught off guard. In an instant, their peaceful domain was disrupted by this foreign object, its presence an anomaly they had never anticipated. The vessel, upon further inspection, was unmistakably Terran, a species the Ascendants had observed from a distance, but had never considered of any particular consequence. "What is this?" one of the younger Ascendants pulsed, their energy form flickering with surprise. "Impossible!" another responded, their tone resonating with disbelief. "The Terrans? How could they?" The Ascendants collectively focused their vast consciousness on the ship, analyzing its structure, its energy signatures, and most astonishingly, its speed. The vessel moved faster than any they had ever encountered, zipping through dark space as though it had no regard for the ancient beings whose domain it had just violated. "Faster than light travel," murmured the eldest descendant, a being whose presence alone could command the attention of all others. "No other race has ever achieved this." A ripple of shock passed through the gathering. The Terrans, a species they had always regarded as primitive and fleeting, had somehow developed a technology that had eluded every other civilization in the cosmos. The sheer improbability of it was almost amusing. "They've done it," another Ascendant noted, a mixture of bemusement and curiosity in their voice. "The Terrans have achieved what no other has, and in so little time." The conversation among the Ascendants became more animated, their initial shock giving way to a strange blend of curiosity and confusion. How had the Terrans, of all species, managed to leapfrog over the natural progression of technological development? The Ascendants, who prided themselves on their vast knowledge, found themselves grappling with a mystery that was as unexpected as it was intriguing. "Have we underestimated them?" one Ascendant mused, their energy flickering with a hint of self-doubt. "Perhaps," the eldest responded, though their tone suggested that they found the situation more puzzling than concerning. "But what concerns me is not just how they've achieved this, but why. They are moving through dark space, our space, without even knowing it." "Do they even realize where they are?" another Ascendant wondered aloud. The thought was almost comical. These Terrans, with their newfound technology, were barreling through a realm that was the Ascendants' private sanctuary, completely oblivious to the significance of their actions. "Unlikely," the eldest said, their tone now tinged with amusement. "They are like children who have discovered a new toy. They play with it, unaware of the consequences." The Ascendants, while still processing the implications of this disturbing development, could not help but be intrigued by the audacity of the Terrans. Here was a species that had, against all odds, broken through the barriers of light speed, something that should have been impossible. And yet, they were utterly clueless about the magnitude of what they had done. As the Terran ship continued its journey through dark space, the Ascendants watched with a mix of fascination and incredulity. Their peace had been disrupted, but in a way that was almost entertaining. The Ascendants, ancient beings of immense power, found themselves bemused by this unexpected development, their curiosity piqued by a species they had never considered particularly significant. And so, the first encounter between the Ascendants and the Terrans unfolded, not with hostility or fear, but with a strange, almost comical sense of wonder. The Terrans, in their blissful ignorance, had just crashed into the Ascendants' living room, and the ancient beings were left to contemplate what this uninvited intrusion might mean for the future. The first jump. The hum of anticipation filled the bridge as the crew of the Terran ship prepared for the first ever faster-than-light jump. Every display was alive with data, and the low murmur of calculations and final checks created a buzz that had everyone on edge. The ship's captain, a seasoned explorer with a calm demeanor, stood at the center, eyes fixed on the central console, where the final countdown ticked away.
"FTL systems are green across the board,"
the chief engineer reported, her voice steady despite the enormity of the moment.
"We are ready for jump initiation on your command, Captain."
"Understood," the captain replied, a hint of excitement breaking through his normally stoic exterior. He glanced around the bridge, meeting the eyes of his crew. They had trained for this, theorized about it for years, but now they were about to make history. "Let's make this jump count. Initiate jump." The command was given, and the ship's engines roared to life, building up to the critical point where space itself would bend to their will. The sensation was immediate and intense, a rapid acceleration that pressed everyone back into their seats. For a moment, the entire universe seemed to stretch and warp around them, as if they were being pulled through the very fabric of reality. And then, for what felt like just a heartbeat, the ship was enveloped in a dazzling display of light. Strange and beautiful colors danced around the vessel, swirling in patterns that defied logic and reason. The crew caught glimpses of the spectacle, but their minds could barely register what they were seeing. The moment was fleeting, the colors blurring into one another before disappearing just as quickly as they had appeared.
"Whoa! Did anyone else see that?"
one of the junior officers muttered, his eyes wide with a mixture of awe and confusion. "Yeah, but focus, everyone," the captain interjected, his tone firm. "We'll analyze everything later. Right now, let's make sure we're in one piece." The crew snapped back to their instruments, their attention fully on the ship's status. The strange lights and colors were quickly pushed to the back of their minds, dismissed as an odd but inconsequential side effect of the jump. Their primary concern was whether they had arrived safely at their destination.
"FTL transition complete,"
the navigator announced, a grin spreading across her face as the readings confirmed their location.
"We're exactly where we're supposed to be, Captain."
The tension on the bridge dissolved in an instant, replaced by cheers and laughter. The crew erupted in celebration, slapping each other on the back and exchanging high fives. They had done it. They had achieved what had once seemed impossible. They had broken the light barrier and lived to tell the tale.
"All systems are stable,"
the engineer added, her voice barely audible over the noise of the celebration.
"We've made a clean jump."
The captain allowed himself a rare smile as he looked around at his crew, the people who had made this moment possible. "Well done, everyone. We've just opened up the universe. This is only the beginning." As the crew continued to revel in their success, they remained blissfully unaware of the deeper implications of their achievement. The strange, fleeting colors they had seen were dismissed as little more than a curious anomaly, not worthy of further thought. Their focus was on the here and now, on the success of their mission, and the endless possibilities that lay ahead. For the crew of the Terran ship, all that mattered was that their jump had been successful. They had done it. They had conquered the impossible, and in their minds, the universe had just become a little smaller, a little more within reach. "Prepare for the return jump," the captain ordered, the thrill of exploration still coursing through him. "Let's see if we can do it again." The crew eagerly set to work, their excitement renewed as they prepared to leap back through the unknown, completely unaware of the cosmic forces they had just brushed against.
"All systems are green,"
the chief engineer reported, her voice brimming with confidence.
"The drive's ready to take us home."
"Excellent," the captain replied, nodding approvingly. "Let's bring it home, people. I want to be back in time to make history twice in one day." The crew worked quickly, each person focused on their task as they ran through the final checks. The excitement in the air was palpable. This was more than just another jump. It was a chance to prove that their breakthrough was real, sustainable, and repeatable. If this jump was successful, it would mark the dawn of a new era for humanity.
"Ready for jump in 10 seconds,"
the navigator announced, her hands steady on the controls.
"Brace yourselves."
The countdown ticked away, and the now familiar hum of the FTL drive filled the ship. The crew felt that same intense acceleration, followed by the brief but disorienting sensation of being pulled through the fabric of space. And then, once again, the ship was enveloped in the strange and beautiful colors of dark space. The swirling lights and shifting patterns appeared just as they had before, filling the viewports with a display that defied description. But this time, The crew was even less focused on the spectacle.
Engine output stable.
The engineer called out, her eyes glued to the readouts.
No fluctuations. Navigation holding steady,
added the navigator, making minor adjustments as the ship moved through the jump. The strange phenomena around them were noted in passing, but the crew was too absorbed in their instruments to pay much attention. To them, these fleeting glimpses of dark space were just another part of the FTL experience, a minor curiosity, nothing more. Their primary concern was the success of the jump itself, not the wonders that might be passing by outside. Before they knew it, the colors faded and the ship emerged back into familiar space. The sensation of acceleration ceased, and the view outside the viewports shifted back to the cold, dark void of normal space. The ship had returned to its original location, safe and sound. "We did it!" the captain exclaimed, a wide grin spreading across his face as the readings confirmed their position. 2 jumps, 2 successes! The bridge erupted into cheers and applause, the crew reveling in their accomplishment. They had done what no one had ever done before. They had not only broken the light barrier, but done so with precision and reliability. The implications were staggering.
all systems nominal,
The chief engineer confirmed, beaming with pride.
FTL drive is functioning perfectly.
This changes everything,
The captain said, looking around at his jubilant crew.
We need to get this data back to command. The possibilities, they're endless.
The crew buzzed with excitement, already discussing the potential applications of their newfound capability. Long-distance exploration, rapid response missions, even interstellar colonization. Everything seemed within reach now. The universe, once so vast and unreachable, suddenly felt a little smaller, a little more accessible. In the midst of their celebration, the strange colors and phenomena of dark space were quickly forgotten. The crew had barely noticed them, too focused on the success of their mission to dwell on the fleeting beauty they had witnessed. Their thoughts were entirely on the practical and immediate, the data they had collected, the success of the FTL drive, and the future it promised. As the captain gave the order to set a course back to their home base, the crew eagerly complied, their minds already racing ahead to the next steps. They had made history twice in one day, and they were eager to share their triumph with the rest of humanity. Back at their home base, the crew of the Terran ship was greeted with the fanfare reserved for pioneers and heroes. Word had already spread about the successful faster-than-light jumps, and the excitement was palpable as the crew disembarked, eager to share the details of their historic mission. In the command center, a debriefing was quickly arranged. High-ranking officers, scientists, and engineers gathered around the central table, their eyes bright with anticipation. The captain, still riding the high of their achievement, took center stage.
I'm proud to report that our FTL drive not only performed flawlessly during the initial jump, but also during the return journey,
the captain began, his voice steady but filled with excitement.
We've confirmed that the technology is stable, reliable, and ready for broader application.
A murmur of approval swept through the room. The implications were staggering, and everyone present knew it. Humanity had taken its first steps into a much larger universe, and the possibilities seemed limitless. The chief engineer stepped forward, displaying data from the mission on the central screen.
As you can see, all systems operated within expected parameters. Engine efficiency, structural integrity, and navigational precision were all maintained throughout both jumps. This means we can begin scaling up production immediately.
The room buzzed with conversation as the attendees discussed the next steps. The focus was entirely on the technical and logistical steps, how quickly they could mass-produce FTL drives, how best to equip the fleet, and how soon they could begin testing on a larger scale.
We'll need to retrofit our existing ships with the new drives,
one officer noted, already thinking ahead.
If we can get this technology fleet-wide, we'll have the capability to reach the farthest corners of the galaxy in a fraction of the time. Agreed, the captain said, nodding. We can start by outfitting our exploration vessels, and then move on to the rest of the fleet. This technology changes everything. Our ability to respond to threats, to explore, to colonize. The possibilities are endless.
As the discussion grew more animated, any mention of the strange phenomena encountered during the jumps was quickly brushed aside. One of the junior officers hesitantly brought up the brief flashes of color and light they had seen, wondering aloud if they might warrant further investigation. But the suggestion was met with little more than a dismissive shrug.
Probably just a side effect of the FTL process,
the chief engineer said, waving it off.
We'll figure it out as we refine the technology. Right now, our focus needs to be on getting this capability into the hands of the fleet as quickly as possible.
The officer nodded, falling silent. The room's attention was squarely on the practical applications of their newfound capability, not on the fleeting mysteries of dark space. The beauty and strangeness they had encountered were simply anomalies, unimportant compared to the monumental achievement of mastering FTL travel. By the end of the meeting, plans were already being drafted. The excitement was contagious as the crew and their superiors outlined the steps needed to mass-produce the FTL drives and begin expanding human reach across the galaxy. There was talk of new missions, new colonies, and new frontiers to explore, an entire galaxy waiting to be discovered. As the meeting adjourned, the captain lingered for a moment, gazing at the data still displayed on the screen. He felt a deep sense of pride in what they had accomplished, a sense that they were on the cusp of something truly extraordinary.
"Let's get to work,"
he finally said, his voice filled with determination.
"We've just opened the door to the stars. Now it's time to walk through it."
The crew and their superiors left the command center, their minds racing with thoughts of the future. They were focused on the practical and strategic advantages of their new capability, eager to push the boundaries of human exploration and secure their place in the galaxy. And as they began to plan their next steps, the strange phenomena of dark space were left behind, dismissed as little more than an oddity, an afterthought in the face of their groundbreaking success. None of them were aware that in their haste to conquer the stars, they had already begun to disrupt forces far greater than they could comprehend. The massive station hovered high above Earth, its sleek metallic form reflecting the light of the sun as it orbited the planet. Inside, the atmosphere was electric with excitement, as the most influential leaders, scientists, and dignitaries from across the Terran Confederation gathered for a historic announcement. This was the moment they had all been waiting for, the culmination of years of effort, innovation, and determination. The grand auditorium was filled to capacity, every seat occupied by a who's who of Terran society. The room buzzed with anticipation, the air charged with the significance of the occasion. This was no ordinary event. This was a celebration of an achievement that dwarfed anything in humanity's storied history. At the center of the stage, a massive screen displayed the image of a ship in flight, its engines glowing with the unmistakable power of faster-than-light technology. The words, "A new era begins," scrolled across the bottom of the screen, underscoring the magnitude of what was about to be announced. The lights dimmed, and a hush fell over the crowd as the Confederation's most senior leader, a figure known for his calm authority and visionary leadership, stepped forward. He paused for a moment, taking in the sea of faces before him, each one a testament to the hard work and dedication that had brought them to this moment.
"Ladies and gentlemen,"
he began, his voice carrying the weight of history.
"Today, we stand on the threshold of a new era, an era that will forever change the course of humanity. As of this moment, every capable ship in the Terran fleet has been outfitted with faster-than-light technology."
A wave of applause erupted, echoing through the vast auditorium. The leader paused, allowing the crowd to express their excitement before continuing.
"With this technology, We now have the capability to perform tens of thousands of FTL jumps every day, he announced, his voice filled with pride. This means that we can deliver much-needed supplies, equipment, and personnel across the galaxy with unprecedented speed and efficiency. No longer are we bound by the constraints of distance. The stars are within our reach.
The screen behind him shifted to display a map of the galaxy, dotted with countless points of light representing the ships now equipped with FTL drives. The image was awe-inspiring, a visual representation of humanity's newfound ability to traverse the cosmos.
From this day forward, humanity is no longer confined to a single world or a handful of nearby systems, the leader declared. We are now a galactic civilization, capable of spreading our influence, our culture, and our people to the farthest reaches of space. This is an accomplishment that dwarfs anything we have achieved before. It is the dawn of a new age.
The applause grew louder, the crowd rising to its feet in a standing ovation. The energy in the room was palpable, a mixture of pride, hope, and the thrill of limitless possibilities. They had done it. They had opened the door to the stars, and now nothing could hold them back. The leader gestured for the crowd to settle, a smile playing on his lips as he continued.
The implications of this technology are vast. We will be able to deliver vital supplies to our colonies, explore new frontiers, and establish trade routes that will connect us to worlds we have only dreamed of. Humanity will thrive in ways we never thought possible.
As he spoke, the screen displayed images of ships making jumps, supplies being delivered to distant colonies, and new planets being surveyed for potential settlement. The scale of what had been accomplished was staggering.
We are on the verge of something truly extraordinary,
the leader said, his voice filled with emotion.
And it is all thanks to the hard work and ingenuity of people like you, scientists, engineers, explorers, and leaders, who dared to dream of a future where the stars are within our grasp.
The applause returned, louder and more enthusiastic than before. This was a moment of triumph, a moment that would be remembered for generations to come. As the celebration continued, the attendees mingled, sharing their excitement and discussing the endless possibilities that lay ahead. The station hummed with activity as plans were made, deals were struck, and new alliances were forged, all with the goal of pushing humanity's reach further into the galaxy. As the celebration drew to a close, the leader looked out over the crowd one last time, his heart swelling with pride. They had done it. They had taken the first step toward a future beyond anything they had ever imagined. And now, with the stars within their reach, there was no turning back. Humanity was on the move, ready to carve its place in the galaxy, one FTL jump at a time. Yet, amid the euphoria, there was little thought given to the strange phenomena that had accompanied the FTL jumps. The brief glimpses of light and color, the fleeting sense of something more, were all but forgotten in the face of such monumental success. The focus was entirely on the practical, the tangible, and the immediate, spreading humanity across the stars and ensuring its dominance in the galaxy. The first week after FTL. What had started as a curious anomaly soon escalated into what could only be described as a cosmic farce. Within the span of a single Terran week, barely a blink to the Ascendants, the serene quiet of dark space had been shattered by a relentless onslaught of Terran ships. They appeared at random intervals, zipping through the void with all the grace of a toddler on a sugar high, completely unaware of the chaos they were leaving in their wake. At first, the Ascendants were mildly intrigued by this unexpected development, but that curiosity quickly evaporated as the intrusions became more frequent and more inconvenient. It seemed that no matter what the Ascendants were doing, a Terran ship was sure to appear at the worst possible moment. One particularly distinguished ascendant, known for its contemplative musings on the nature of dark matter, was in the middle of an eloquent soliloquy when a Terran ship suddenly materialized right through the middle of its form. The ship buzzed through, leaving the ascendant sputtering in a rare moment of cosmic indignation.
Did that just happen?
The ascendant pulsed, its normally serene energy crackling with irritation.
It did,
another replied, struggling to stifle what could only be described as a ripple of laughter.
Right through you!
As if on cue, another ship whizzed by, narrowly missing the eldest ascendant, who had been presiding over a grand discussion about the balance of universal forces. The conversation screeched to a halt as the ship zipped past, leaving a trail of distorted energy in its wake.
Really? Now?
The eldest paused, their voice tinged with exasperation.
They have impeccable timing, don't they?
Another ascendant quipped, though the humor in their tone did little to mask their growing frustration. The situation only got worse. The ascendants would be in the midst of a deep philosophical debate about the nature of existence when, without warning, a Terran ship would blunder through, scattering their thoughts like leaves in a gust of wind. It wasn't just one or two ships either. It was a veritable parade of them, appearing and disappearing at random, each one more oblivious than the last.
They are like cosmic gate crashers,
one ascendant grumbled after yet another ship interrupted what had been a particularly enlightening discourse on temporal mechanics.
No sense of decorum whatsoever. How did they even manage this?
Another wondered aloud, watching as yet another ship zipped by, seemingly oblivious to the fact that it had just flown through a discussion on the fundamental principles of quantum entanglement.
Did they just wake up one day and decide, let's poke holes in reality?
The ascendants, beings who had once prided themselves on their infinite patience and composure, found themselves increasingly flustered by the relentless swarm of Terran ships. Their attempts to understand how the humans had developed FTL so quickly were continually thwarted by the very ships they were trying to study. The ships appeared at the most inopportune moments, during Grand Council meetings, in the middle of important meditations, and even right as the ascendants were on the verge of some great cosmic revelation. It was as if the Terrans had an uncanny ability to sense when they were least wanted, and then proceed to show up en masse.
They're completely oblivious,
one ascendant sighed, watching as yet another ship buzzed through, narrowly avoiding a collision with an especially dignified elder.
They have no idea they're turning our domain into a galactic obstacle course.
As the week dragged on, the initial curiosity that had greeted the Terrans' FTL breakthrough was replaced by a growing sense of exasperation. The humans, in their ignorance, had unwittingly turned dark space into their personal playground, with the ascendants as the hapless spectators.
They are like children who've discovered fireworks,
one ascendant muttered, dodging another ship as it careened through.
Loud, messy, and completely unconcerned with the mess they're leaving behind.
Despite their frustration, there was an undercurrent of begrudging amusement. The ascendants, for all their power and wisdom, were being outmaneuvered by a species that didn't even know they existed. It was absurd, infuriating, and somehow hilarious. And so, as the Terran ships continued to zoom through dark space, the ascendants could do little more than endure the chaos with as much dignity as they could muster, though dignity was becoming harder to maintain with each passing ship. The once peaceful realm of the ascendants had become a cosmic racetrack, and all they could do was watch as the Terrans, blissfully unaware, kept zipping by. After enduring the relentless parade of Terran ships for what felt like an eternity, though it had only been a few Terran days, the ascendants decided it was time to address the situation. Surely, with their vast power and cosmic wisdom, they could find a way to communicate with these oblivious humans and put an end to the incessant disruptions. But, as the ascendants soon discovered, this was easier said than done. The first attempt was simple enough. a gentle nudge in the fabric of space-time, a ripple that any sufficiently advanced civilization would recognize as a signal. The Ascendants waited, expecting the Terran ships to slow down, perhaps even stop altogether. Instead, the ships continued to zip by, completely unaffected by the subtle cosmic hint.
"Did they even notice?"
One Ascendant asked, their tone laced with growing irritation.
"Apparently not,"
another replied, watching as yet another ship buzzed through without so much as a pause. The Ascendants tried a more direct approach. They focused their collective energies, creating a brief but powerful distortion in dark space that should have been impossible to ignore. But once again, the Terran ships barreled through, oblivious to the attempt at communication.
"They are like ants,"
one Ascendant mused, their frustration evident.
"We're trying to explain quantum physics, and they're just marching along, completely unaware."
The comparison was apt. The Ascendants, for all their power, found themselves in the absurd position of trying to communicate with a species that might as well have been ants scurrying across a picnic blanket. The humans were blissfully ignorant of the cosmic forces trying to reach out to them, too preoccupied with their newfound ability to zip through space at breakneck speeds.
"They probably think they are the first to discover all this,"
another Ascendant remarked dryly as another ship zoomed by.
"They have no idea they are trampling through our domain like bulls in a china shop."
The Ascendants, undeterred, decided to attempt one last, more drastic measure. They created a massive, shimmering construct of light and energy, something so awe-inspiring that surely even the Terrans would have to stop and take notice. But as the first Terran ship approached, it did the unthinkable. It zipped straight through the construct, scattering it into a million tiny particles, as if it were nothing more than a mist.
"Unbelievable!"
the eldest Ascendant pulsed, their voice tinged with something that might have been resignation.
"They've just flown right through it."
It was becoming painfully clear that no matter what the Ascendants did, the Terrans were simply too oblivious to notice. The humans, in their blissful ignorance, continued to explore the cosmos with all the subtlety of a sledgehammer, completely unaware that their ships were essentially barging through the Ascendants' living rooms.
"They are like children with a new toy,"
one Ascendant sighed,
"completely unaware of the mess they're making."
As the Terran ships continued their chaotic journey through dark space, the Ascendants were forced to accept the unthinkable. They had no way of communicating with these humans. Despite their vast power and knowledge, there was simply no way to make the Terrans understand the cosmic disturbance they were causing. And so, the Ascendants watched, with a mixture of frustration and reluctant amusement, as the humans continued to blissfully zip through their domain, completely unaware of the chaos they were leaving in their wake. It was, in a word, futile, like trying to have a deep philosophical discussion with a group of ants. The Ascendants, masters of the cosmos, could only sigh and endure as the Terrans marched on, blissfully unaware of the mess they were making in their exploration of the stars. In the wake of their failed attempts to communicate with the Terrans, the Ascendants were left with little choice but to adjust to the new reality. The once serene and undisturbed dark space they had called home for eons was now a bustling, chaotic highway for the Terran ships, each one zipping through with the unthinking enthusiasm of a child discovering a new playground. At first, the Ascendants were frustrated. Their tranquil existence had been disrupted in ways they could never have anticipated. But as the days passed, that frustration gradually gave way to a resigned acceptance. The Terrans, it seemed, were here to stay, or at least their ships were. And so, the Ascendants, beings of infinite patience and adaptability, began to find ways to coexist with the humans' newfound technology. They learned to anticipate the sudden appearance of Terran ships, adjusting their activities to minimize the disruption. Grand cosmic discussions were held in more secure locations. far from the usual paths of the zipping vessels. Meditations and reflections were scheduled during the rare moments of quiet when the Terrans seemed to take a break from their galactic joyrides. The Ascendants even began to find humor in the situation, chuckling among themselves as another ship careened through dark space, oblivious to the grand beings it passed by. What had once been a source of irritation became a peculiar sort of entertainment, a reminder that even in their near-infinite existence, the universe still had the capacity to surprise.
"We thought we knew everything,"
one Ascendant mused as a particularly fast ship zipped by.
"And yet here we are, adapting to a reality we never imagined."
The others agreed. The universe, vast and ancient as it was, had once again shown them that it could still defy expectations. The Ascendants, who had spent eons guiding the cosmos, were reminded that they were not as all-knowing as they once believed. The Terrans, with their unpredictable FTL travel, had introduced a new element into the cosmic order, one that even the Ascendants had to adjust to. And so, a new normal was established. The Ascendants continued their eternal vigil, maintaining the balance of the universe with the same care and precision as before, albeit with the occasional interruption from a speeding Terran ship. They had accepted that dark space would never again be the completely tranquil domain it once was, but they had also learned to find peace in this new reality. In the end, the experience left the Ascendants with a renewed sense of humility. The universe, it seemed, was not just a canvas for their designs. It was a living, evolving entity with surprises of its own, and sometimes those surprises came in the form of an oblivious species with a newfound technological toy, blissfully unaware of the cosmic dance they had stumbled into. As the Ascendants continued their eternal existence, they carried with them the knowledge that even they could be surprised, that the cosmos held more mysteries than they had ever imagined. The Terrans, in their innocent exploration, had unknowingly reminded the Ascendants of a simple truth. The universe is vast, unpredictable, and full of wonder, even for those who have seen it all. And with that, the Ascendants resumed their watch over the universe, their serene presence once again filling dark space, now with the occasional flash of a Terran ship streaking through the stars.